Hey there, fellow preppers. Welcome back to SurvivalScope. I'm Larry, and today we're taking a deep dive into emergency preparedness. No matter whether you're a seasoned prepper or just starting out, I've put together this comprehensive guide that will help anyone be better prepared for any emergency that might come your way. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Emergency preparedness? Isn't that just for doomsday preppers? Well, let me tell you, being prepared isn't about expecting the worst. It's about being ready for anything. Natural disasters, power outages, economic instability, these are all real possibilities that can disrupt our daily lives. And when they do, you'll be glad you took the time to prepare. So grab a notebook, because we're about to cover everything you need to know to keep yourself and your loved ones safe when disaster strikes. Let's get started. Assessing your risks. The first step in any emergency preparedness plan is understanding the risks you face. Every region has its own set of potential emergencies, and your plan should reflect that. For example, if you live in California, you might need to prepare for earthquakes and wildfires. If you're on the Gulf Coast or on the East Coast, hurricanes are a major concern. And if you're anywhere near the Central to Midwest regions, tornadoes might be your biggest threat. But wait, don't just think about natural disasters. Consider other potential emergencies too. Power outages, economic instability, civil unrest, and pandemics. We've all learned the importance of this one recently, haven't we? Take some time to research the most likely emergencies in your area. Your local emergency management office can be a great resource for this information. Remember, the goal isn't to panic about all the things that could go wrong. It's to be aware and prepared. Knowledge is power, folks. Creating an emergency plan. Now that you know what you're preparing for, it's time to create a plan. This is crucial because when an emergency hits, you won't have time to figure things out on the fly. Your emergency plan should cover communication. How will you contact your family members if you're separated? Consider creating a phone tree or designating an out-of-area contact who can relay messages. Evacuation. Know your evacuation routes. Have at least 2 ways to leave your home and your city. Practice these routes so you know them by heart. Meeting places. Designate 2 meeting places, one just outside your home for sudden emergencies like a fire, and one outside your neighborhood in case you can't return home. Roles and responsibilities. In an emergency, everyone should know their role. Who's responsible for grabbing the emergency kit? Who's in charge of pets? Having these roles defined in advance can save precious time. Special considerations. Does anyone in your family have special needs? Are there any medications they can't be without? Make sure your plan accounts for these. Remember to write your plan down and make sure everyone in your household knows it. It's also a good idea to practice your plan at least once a year. Treat it like a fire drill. The more you practice, the more automatic it becomes. Building your emergency kit. All right, now let's talk about one of the most important aspects of emergency preparedness, your emergency kit. This is essentially a collection of items you'll need to survive for at least 72 hours without access to grocery stores, electricity, or running water. Here's what should be in your basic emergency kit. Water. The rule of thumb is 1 gallon per person per day. So for a family of 4, you'd need 12 gallons to last 72 hours. And don't forget to account for your pets too. Food. Stock up on non-perishable, easy-to-prepare foods. Think canned goods, dried foods, and high-energy snacks. Aim for at least a 3-day supply. First aid kit. Include bandages, antiseptic wipes, pain relievers, and any prescription medications your family needs. Flashlights and extra batteries. When the power goes out, you'll be glad you have these. Battery-powered or hand-crank radio. This will be your lifeline for emergency information. Multi-tool. A good multi-tool can be incredibly useful in a variety of situations. Sanitation and personal hygiene. Items: think toilet paper, moist towelettes, garbage bags, and personal hygiene supplies. Copies of important documents. This includes IDs, insurance policies, bank records, and emergency contact information. Store these in a waterproof container. Cash and change. ATMs might not be working in an emergency, so have some cash on hand. Emergency blanket. These Mylar blankets are lightweight and can help retain body heat. Change of clothes. Include sturdy shoes and warm clothing. Whistle. This can be used to signal for help. Dust masks, these can protect you from contaminated air. Now, this is just a basic kit. Depending on your specific needs and the emergencies you're preparing for, you might want to add items like a fire extinguisher, matches in a waterproof container, paper and pencil, books, games, or other activities to help pass the time, and infant supplies like formula and diapers if you have a baby. Remember, your emergency kit isn't a set-it-and-forget-it kind of thing. You need to maintain it, check it at least twice a year. Replace any expired food or medications, update your important documents, and make sure your kit still meets your family's needs. Food and water storage. Let's dive a little deeper into food and water storage, because these are absolutely crucial for survival. For water, remember the 1 gallon per person per day rule, but that's just for a 72-hour kit. For long-term preparedness, you'll want to store much more. Consider investing in large water storage containers, or even a rainwater collection system. Don't forget about water purification methods too. Store water purification tablets, or better yet, invest in a good water filter. The Life Straw is a popular option that can filter up to 1,000 gallons of water. When it comes to food, focus on items that have a long shelf life, are easy to prepare, and provide good nutritional value. Some good options include canned meats, fruits, and vegetables, dried beans and rice, protein bars, and dried fruits, peanut butter, powdered milk, and powdered eggs. Don't forget to include a manual can opener, or 2, in your supplies. For long-term food storage, consider investing in freeze-dried foods. These can last up to 25 years and retain most of their nutritional value. Remember to rotate your food supplies. Use the first-in, first-out method. Use the oldest items first and replace them with new ones. Power and lighting. In many emergencies, one of the first things to go is the power. That's why having alternative power sources is so important. Here are some options to consider. Generators. A good generator can keep essential appliances running. If you go this route, make sure you have enough fuel stored safely. Solar chargers. These are great for keeping small devices like phones charged. Hand crank chargers. These require some effort, but they'll work even when there's no sun. For lighting, have a variety of options. Flashlights with extra batteries. Headlamps, great for hands-free lighting. Lanterns, good for lighting larger areas. Candles, but be careful with open flames. And glow sticks, safe and long-lasting. Remember, in a prolonged emergency, the ability to generate power and provide light can be incredibly valuable. It's not just about comfort, it's about safety and the ability to access information. Communication. In an emergency, staying informed and being able to communicate with others is crucial. Here's what you need: battery-powered or hand-crank radio. This will allow you to receive emergency broadcasts. Look for one that can receive no-AA weather radio broadcasts. Extra cell phone chargers. Consider getting a few portable power banks and keep them charged. Whistle. This is a simple but effective way to signal for help. Two-way radios. These can be great for communicating with family members over short distances. Emergency contact list. Have a physical copy of important phone numbers. Don't rely on your phone's contact list. Remember, in a major disaster, cell networks might be down or overloaded. That's why having multiple communication options is so important. First aid and medical supplies. A well-stocked first aid kit is an essential part of any emergency preparedness plan. Here's what your kit should include: adhesive bandages in various sizes, sterile gauze pads, adhesive tape, elastic bandage, scissors and tweezers, safety pins, disposable gloves, antiseptic wipes, antibiotic ointment, burn gel, pain relievers, both adult and children's if applicable, anti-diarrhea medication, antacids, and any prescription medications your family needs. In addition to these basics, consider adding a first aid manual, emergency blanket, instant cold and hot packs, oral rehydration salts, and breathing barrier for CPR. Remember, having these supplies is important, but knowing how to use them is even more crucial. Consider taking a first aid course. The skills you learn could literally save a life. Shelter and warmth. In some emergencies, you might need to evacuate your home. In others, you might need to shelter in place without power. Either way, being prepared for shelter and warmth is crucial. For your home, Have extra blankets and warm clothing easily accessible. Consider getting a portable, indoor safe heater and fuel. Have materials to cover windows and doors if needed. For evacuation, have a tent large enough for your family. Pack sleeping bags rated for low temperatures. Include emergency blankets, those Mylar ones, in your kit. Have rain gear and extra warm clothing. Remember, exposure to the elements can be just as dangerous as any other emergency. Being able to stay warm and dry is crucial for survival. Tools and supplies. Having the right tools can make a huge difference in an emergency. Here are some essential tools to include in your preparations. Multi-tool, duct tape, rope or paracord, work gloves, N95 masks, plastic sheeting, basic toolkit, hammer, screwdrivers, pliers, and wrenches, fire extinguisher, matches in a waterproof container, a ferro rod or fire starter, lighter, shovel, and an axe or hatchet. These tools can help you make repairs, build shelter, start fires, and handle a variety of emergency situations. Sanitation and hygiene. In a prolonged emergency, maintaining sanitation and hygiene is crucial for preventing disease. Here's what you need: toilet paper, feminine supplies, personal hygiene items, soap, toothbrushes, and toothpaste. Hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes, garbage bags, plastic ties, a 5-gallon bucket can be used as an emergency toilet. And bleach can be used to disinfect water, 8 to 16 drops per gallon, depending on how murky the water is. Don't underestimate the importance of these items. In a disaster, good hygiene can be the difference between staying healthy and getting sick. Special considerations. Every family is unique, and your emergency preparations should reflect that. Here are some special considerations to keep in mind. Infants and young children. If you have babies or young children, make sure you have formula and baby food. Diapers and wipes, comfort items like favorite toys or blankets. Elderly family members, consider any special needs they might have, such as medications. Spare glasses or hearing aids, mobility aids. Pets. Don't forget about your furry family members. You'll need pet food and water. Leash and carrier. Medications, litter and litter box for cats. Medical conditions. If anyone in your family has a medical condition, make sure you have extra medications. Copies of prescriptions. Any necessary medical equipment, like a glucose monitor for diabetics. Cultural and religious considerations. Make sure your emergency plans and supplies respect any cultural or religious needs your family might have. Remember, the goal is to be as self-sufficient as possible in an emergency. Think about what your family uses on a daily basis, and make sure you have those essentials covered. Financial preparedness. We've talked a lot about physical preparations, but financial preparedness is just as important. Here's what you need to do. Emergency fund. Aim to have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved in an easily accessible account. Important documents. Keep copies of important documents in a waterproof, portable container. This includes identification documents, insurance policies, bank account records, emergency contact information. Cash. Keep some cash on hand. In a major emergency, ATMs might not be working. Insurance. Make sure your insurance coverage is adequate. This includes home, auto, life, and health insurance. Inventory. Create a home inventory with photos or video. This can be crucial for insurance claims. Remember, financial resilience is a key part of overall emergency preparedness. Skills and knowledge. All the supplies in the world won't help if you don't know how to use them. That's why developing skills and knowledge is so important. Here are some skills to consider learning: first aid and CPR, basic car maintenance, home repairs, fire starting, water purification, basic self-defense, gardening and food preservation, cooking from scratch. Consider taking classes or workshops in these areas. Many local community centers or outdoor stores offer courses in survival skills. Also, build a library of reference books on topics like first aid, wilderness survival, and emergency preparedness. In a long-term emergency, these books could be invaluable. Community preparedness. While it's important to be self-reliant, remember that in a major emergency, your community is one of your greatest resources. Here's how to incorporate community preparedness into your plans. Know your neighbors. In an emergency, Your neighbors might be your first source of help. Get to know them and consider discussing emergency plans. Community organizations. Look into local community emergency response team, CERT programs, or other volunteer organizations. Local resources. Know what resources are available in your community. This might include emergency shelters, food banks, or medical facilities. Share skills. Consider organizing skill-sharing workshops in your community. You might be surprised at the diverse skills your neighbors have. Remember, a prepared community is a resilient community. By working together, you can greatly increase your chances of surviving and thriving in an emergency. Conclusion. All right, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today. Emergency preparedness might seem overwhelming at first, but remember, it's a process, not a one-time event. Start small. Focus on the most likely emergencies for your area and gradually build up your supplies and skills over time. Remember the key points. Assess your risks, create a plan, build and maintain your emergency kit, store food and water. Have multiple options for power and lighting. Ensure you can communicate and stay informed. Be prepared for first aid and medical needs. Have options for shelter and warmth. Stock essential tools and supplies. Don't neglect sanitation and hygiene. Consider your family's special needs. Be financially prepared. Develop crucial skills and knowledge, and engage with your community. The goal of all this preparation isn't to live in fear, but to have peace of mind. Knowing that you're prepared for emergencies allows you to live your life with confidence, knowing that whatever comes your way, you're ready to handle it. Remember, preparedness is a lifestyle, not a destination. Keep learning, keep improving, and stay ready. Because when it comes to emergencies, it's always better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Thank you for joining me today on SurvivalScope. Stay safe, stay prepared, and keep prepping.